Hello everybody, this is Alchemist 2. I'm back again with another TV review, series review I should say. The reason I'm doing this on my camcorder right now is because my Logitech headset mic is completely decrepit and has fallen apart. The other reason that I'm being very quiet is because my dad's already asleep and I'm going to sleep soon, but the episode was called Heaven Sent. It was Doctor Who. And it wasn't one of my favorite episodes, but I still felt like it was extremely well written and stellar in every way, shape, and form. It was very ominous and very eerie. It took upon the whole sense of foreboding that Face the Raven did, and we all know what happened to Clara in the process, and just seeing the Doctor go through everything that he went through was really quite frightening. See him face down his greatest fears, and of course there was something in the end of that episode that kind of made me go, that is a twist I did not see. Well, it's something that I actually thought would happen sooner or later, but I didn't know. I don't know where they're going to go with it. I honestly don't, but I'm curious as to see what will happen. I don't know what else to say about Heaven Sent other than I'm looking forward to the second part of this particular episode. It's called Hellbent. But yeah, it was exceptionally well done. Very well done and marvelously so. There were a lot of elements, like they had an interview with Peter Capaldi, and I saw it on BBC. It was during the commercial breaks, or he said it was like a horror film, and he couldn't have been more apt in his description. It was exactly like a horror film. Just the whole eerie, phantasmagorical nature of the episode in and of itself that just gave the viewer a sense of tenseness and true peril for the character of the Doctor, I think. One thing I thought was very interesting is how Clara communicated through her medium of chalk and chalkboard. And I thought it's very accurate for her and describes her character to a T. And of course, it also revealed some vulnerability to the Doctor. When she asked the question, what was it that you said that made the creature stop? And then he muses a little bit and he says, am I supposed to know everything? Yes, you're Lord of time and space, you know all things. No, I'm just kidding. He does lack, because he has a lot of humanity about him as well, and it's because of his mortal frame, or I should say semi-mortal frame. The corporeal quality of that, I think, is very tangible and comprehensible. It's just one thing that I think makes the character relatable. Honestly, in my opinion, I would have chosen electricity as my communication medium, because chalk and chalkboard are just so limiting, I think. And through electricity, I could be anywhere at any time, any place, and I could go wherever I pleased, and so long as I really wouldn't have to exist in wires and media of any kind. I could go anywhere, basically. She could only communicate through the chalkboard, which I thought was an interesting choice, but I just think that electricity is a better way. But for her character, it was appropriate and it made sense, and I also thought it was very clever in the way they did it, and just the way that they're discussing death and dying, and all that, and it's just for a children's, quote-unquote, children's show. It's a nice way to breach the subject without being too terrifying. Well, this episode was very unsettling, I thought, but still, it brought a whole lot of things to my mind, like my mother, because I miss my mother quite a bit. And when he said, when somebody stays dead, and I thought, yeah, well, we honestly don't know what happens beyond the veil, because we only have stories of NDEs, and that's as close as we've come. But whether you believe it's a lack of oxygen to the brain and hallucinations and blah blah blah, honestly, I don't think that's true. Because I had a friend who had an NDE, so I can tell you that this is not a true statement. And of course, science can rebut all at once and refute, but I just don't think they have a good claim. And I mean, even Dr. Alexander, I should say, he's written 2 books on the subject, and he is a neuroscientist, and he's proven that it exists. But for those of us who haven't seen it, we really don't know. So it's all cloaked in mystery. It's the unknown. That's what's so frightening about it. But still, just the thought of knowing that this is not all there is. Of course, not everybody believes that, and I'm not saying what people believe is right or wrong, good or bad. I accept it. I understand. I have a friend who is an atheist who believes that when you die, you die. And I don't see anything wrong with that, honestly. It's just, we'll just have to wait and see when when it happens to us. It's just like, Danny Avedon actually said on Game Grumps, it was a recent episode. I mentioned this before, but Aaron and he were talking about death, and Dumbledore in Harry Potter, the first book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, he said dying would be the greatest adventure. And of course, that's taken verbatim from J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, which is very interesting in and of itself. It's just the philosopher's quest in order to understand everything that life has to offer. Life itself is a journey that we all take, and we just don't know what lies, like I said, beyond, and that's what makes it so fascinating and interesting and terrifying all at the same time. That's why this episode, although it was not my favorite, I still feel like it was a very complex and exceedingly tremendously written episode that breached a subject that's very unusual for TV shows to speak of in this day and age. And you know, it's good that they do it in a format that I think is not too terribly preachy. But that's basically all I have to say about that, and I'll see you next time. Live long, prosper. Ciao, tutti.